This weekend, some of the world's top teams and top drivers have come to Sepang here in Malaysia for the 12 hours. It promises to be a fabulous event. It is wide open. You've got some of the top GT3 teams and drivers, as I say, but within the Pro-Am section, there's a mix of internationals and local drivers, and we've got other classes as well, which we'll talk about in a moment, all of which are going to throw up battles. The nature of the event itself means that finish, and you're probably going to finish well, even though it is ultra competitive. And we've had some of the fancy teams in strife over the course of the weekend already, with Bentley number 8, for example, already having had to have an engine change. It is sunny, it is hot, it is humid, and there are thunderstorms due at 1 o'clock. And when it rains in this part of the world, it really rains. And that is going to be another element of what promises to be an absolutely enthralling race. The sun shining, the clouds in the sky. We have the cars after qualifying and the Super Pole shootout yesterday with Ferrari, the Clearwater racing car on pole position. And Gianmaria Bruni is going to be the driver that will start in that. With them at the front of the grid, Stefan Ortelli in the Belgian Audi Club Team WRT R8 LMS. Alvaro Parent will start the FFF racing team by ACM McLaren, third on the grid, and Carlo Van Dam in number 11 Ferrari for the Singer Motorsport team will start fourth. Fifth on the grid, Christopher Haas's Audi. Sixth on the grid is the Mercedes. A dark horse this, Nobuteru Taniguchi will start ahead of Marchi Lee and Nicky Thiem, both Audi mounted. Then the top Bentley, Guy Smith, Le Mans winner, will start, and the very experienced Australian driver Warren Luff in Andrew McPherson's Porsche rounds out the top 10 on the grid. 11th is where you find another driver from the Antipodes, Mitch Gilbert, starting in the number 69 Team Fides Isolo Lamborghini, one of the Cup spec cars. Peter Cox, hugely experienced Dutch driver, is alongside him. Then you get to Gerard Tan and John Martin, the Australian, in his Porsche. That was a car that had a couple of offs in qualifying yesterday. Afik Yazid will be 15th on the grid and Melvin Mose 16th. Liam Kian Long is on the 17th rank on the grid ahead of Will Bamber, Le Mans winner Earl's brother. On the 19th slot is Anthony Chan's Lotus, and then 602, which is the Grant Johnson started Subaru, comes next. Then it's Kenny Lee and Wei Xing Hung for the penultimate row of the grid, with Dominic Ang and Max Book rounding out the grid. And those cars, the last two, both have had engine changes coming into this race, and so that's why you find those at the rear of the grid.
Alex, great to have this event here and a really strong entry.
Yeah, it's the most competitive field we've had. I mean, we've lost, the grid isn't as big as previous years because we've switched to a December slot, but it's super competitive. The winner of this race today is going to be the ones who don't make any mistakes, and unlike previous years, we're going to have to be fast every single stint.
And can that be you winning the race?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got some great co-drivers. Obviously, I'm in a pretty good car as well. So I think we have as good a chance as anybody else. I think the key is just to stay out of trouble for the first half of the race, especially in the heat. We're expecting some rain later. That's the tricky thing, staying out of trouble while being quick.
And you've got plenty of experience in the Audi over the last few years.
Yes, yes, I have. I've been driving it for the last 4 years. It's a great car. But it's my first time in the new one, and I have to say the new one's pretty special. It's quite a different beast, and I'm really enjoying it.
Let's hear from the pole man if we can, because Jack has found Gianmaria Bruni.
Maria, how important is the start of this race?
Yeah, it's very important, and I think it will be a nice race. There are so many very good drivers and fantastic teams participated to this event, and it's very good that the SRO came and brings this race to the hands and makes even bigger and bigger.
Is there more pressure because you've got the number 1 on the car?
Oh, it's nice. We like number 1.
See if you can keep it again. Thank you, Jimmy.
Well, let's hear from the man behind this event. Stefan Rattel is on the grid with Jack.
So, Stefan, the first time SRO have promoted this race, and the quality at the front has really improved.
Yeah, so we're in partnership with Sepang International Circuit for the promotion of this 12-hour race. Qualifying have been closed. We have, I think, very good competition between the Ferrari, the Audi, the Mercedes and the McLaren. I don't know why the Bentley is a little bit behind. They had some problem, but I hope they're going to solve them. It's a long race, 12 hours, and I think it's going to be an interesting race.
And what's your prediction for the weather? That's going to be a big factor.
There's certainly, you know, when we took over the partnership in this race. We said we want to create an equivalent of the Spa 24 Hours in Asia. So I think all the ingredients of the race at Spa, with the rain and the changing of condition, of track condition, I think will play a big role. So for the moment, the sun is shining, but I don't think it's going to stay there the whole race.
It's warmer than Spa, isn't it, though?
Yeah, it's a lot warmer than Spa, but there should be some rain now. I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting race.
Who's your money on? Defending champions or one of the Blancpain boys?
I never have any prediction, you know. My only prediction is I think we have the foundation of something good. We just need to attract more teams from Europe, more teams from Asia, more teams from Japan, and some more teams from Australia, and we can have a very global event here.
And this is kind of a prequel to something that's going to be starting next year.
Yes, it's the first of next year concept of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, which is to bring together big long distance race where GT cars can win overall, the Liqui Moly 12 hours in Bathurst, Australia, the total 24 hours of Spa, the Sepang 12 hours, and this new 6-hour race of the Americas we're working on in Texas.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Looking forward to that. Enjoy the race.
Thank you very much.
So the drivers making their way then now into the Noah's Ark 2x2 formation as they thread their way up towards the last corner, in towards turn 14. Now the leading car, the pace car as it is, will head for the pit lane, and then we're going to be in business. The 2015 12 Hours of Sepang then about to get underway. Ferrari versus Audi on the front of the grid. McLaren versus Ferrari on the second row. You've got Audi versus Mercedes on row 3. Bentley lurking on row 4. The lights in a moment will go out. The 12 Hours of Sepang then about to get underway, the 2015 edition. The lights go green, the cars accelerate away. Who's going to get the drag on the way down towards turn 1? A bit slow away, Taniguchi in the Mercedes, but a great start by Carlo Van Dam. Look on the outside of the blue and yellow Ferrari. He outdrags Ortelli as they make their way down now towards turn 1. It's going to be the Ferrari that leads the way as they hustle their way through the right-hander. So Brunion is leading, Van Dam second, and Ortelli almost getting run out wide there. Parent tries to find a way through, and the Audi just about hangs on to the position as they drop downhill for the first time. To the inside goes Parent, tries to force his way up alongside Ortelli, but to no avail, I don't think. Let's see, has he been able to find a way by? No, he hasn't. Stefan Ortelli hangs onto the position. And Parent almost in danger of dropping back because there Taniguchi having a real go, and also Christopher Hauser joining in the mix as well. But a great first few corners for the Ferraris.
Yes, absolutely, and in particular Carlo Van Dam, 4th to 2nd at the start there. Ortelli a little bit slow as reacting to the lights and lost out. It looked as though he was going to lose out to Alvaro Parent as well, but Alvaro couldn't quite hold it coming down towards the first corner, and as a result he slots into that 4th position. Almost managed to get past by Taniguchi as well. Oh, and running wide there is Christopher Hauser. Is that going to put him under pressure on the run down to the left-hand hairpin? He's covering the inside line from one of the Phoenix cars, but he's not going to get past just yet. So despite that mistake, Hauser holds on to his position, and he's all over the back of Taniguchi, but the 2 Ferraris up front.
Now we're looking at 65 minutes before we need to think about pit stops. There's going to be a lot that will happen in this first hour and a bit, but at the moment you've got to say that the Ferraris are looking very fleet indeed as the cars then now work their way downhill. The official start time just a fraction before midday at 12 hours, a long, long way to go. Now there is John Martin back in the race, but you can see the damage. He's got a rear punctured tyre, hasn't he? Yeah. So he's got to try and nurse that back. The good news is that if you are able to get out of the gravel, of course you can carry on in the race, but he's going to be at least 2 laps down when he gets to the pit lane.
I think that's worse than a puncture as well, isn't it? You can see the rim moving around. The rim is not where you'd want it to be.
So Ortelli is getting back up with Hauser because Hauser is stuck behind the McLaren. We've also got Warren Luff and Maxime Bouc under investigation for contact. So there's been an incident that we haven't seen between the Porsche and the Bentley, and that is being investigated, as well as Gerald Tan's improvement under the yellow flags. So the race director is busy already with things to investigate. The stewards will be on their toes as well. Big paperwork everywhere by the end of 12 hours.
I can't quite figure out how Bouc and Luff have come together though, because Bouc started from the back, Luff started from up towards the front, so unless it was perhaps a misidentified Bentley, then it may have been Luff and Smith that had her coming together, but we'll wait and see as we see these 4 cars now almost equidistant to one another as they begin to close in on Christopher Hauser, who is front. Now this is traffic getting out of the way, and that's something to keep an eye on as they swing through that right-hander. Here's the look to the outside then, and this could be the opportunity that Nicky Thiem has been waiting for. Looks to the outside, then starts to cut back, but there's the race leader, Jean-Marie Bruni. Jean-Marie Bruni is now down into third position, so what has happened there to the leading Clearwater Ferrari? Suddenly he's down to third.
So has he got a problem, or has he had an off? It doesn't look like a problem, does it? Because the pace is there. Thiem dives at the inside there, gets alongside Ortelli coming into the corner, and he goes through. So Nicky Thiem has done it, heading into turn 14. He's gone by, but Carlo Van Dam is the new race leader as they work their way up over the timing line. In second is Perrin. Down to third is Jean-Marie Bruni. The lap time was a 2:16, and that suggests that there was an off in all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, race leader, who was reasonably comfortably leading the race, Jean-Marie Bruni, has lost out, down to third place now, and he's in the middle of that Alvaro Parente, Christopher Hasse battle.
Okay, so how long will it take Jimmy Bruni to get the race lead back? It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? Because, of course, having started on pole, he was able to control the start pretty much. And let's try and piece it all together then. Jean-Marie Bruni runs third. He was the race leader. He came across traffic.
Oh,
and
he's
he
going
was
to get squeezed.
forced
Oh, he's hit.
Contact as well. Wow. That was pretty tardy back markery, you've got to say, on the racing line, oblivious to a much quicker car. So there was a spin, but has that done any damage significant to the Ferrari? So Jimmy Bruni still going, but that would be a bit heart in mouth for the team. One of the real favourites, Clearwater Racing, in strife. Was that the number 80 Lotus?
Yeah.
The Anthony Chan car, I think it was, wasn't it? That was suddenly pounced upon by the Ferrari, and that contact. So in the first sector of this lap, he's done a 25.3, which is, on that lap, the quickest anybody had done in the first sector. Relatively speaking, he got away with that, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we saw the strife that the Porsche of John Martin ended up into after similar front-to-end contacts. So I think Bruni's very lucky to still be running reasonably comfortably, although he's got very sideways coming into the right-hander, and as a result, he has got Hasse all over the back of him on the run down the back straight. So maybe the Ferrari not handling quite as well, or Bruni perhaps just pushing incredibly hard, because he'll be a little bit fired up in that cockpit now as he gets onto the brakes for the final left-hand hairpin. So already only 22 minutes into the race, and we've had a little bit of
message
drama.
from the race director: incident with car 1 in turn 11 is a race incident.
Okay.
Way up, and now down the race director beats us to it, because I was about to wonder whether that was going to be looked at, but a racing incident, he feels.
Here comes Jean-Marie Bruni on the run down towards turn 1. Is he going to make the move on Perrin? Perrin covers the inside line, but Bruni goes for it. Up the inside into turn 1 and gets up into second place. Holds the car on the apex, so Alvaro Perrin can't get the cutback. And Jean-Marie Bruni, in that car that did lead until being tapped into a spin by a back marker, is back up into second place, despite a little bit of a slide at 2.
Absolutely right, and Perrin having a big slide as well, and he's now under attack from Christopher Hasse. As there, up the inside of Alvaro Perrin goes Christopher Hasse, and that's 2 spots lost in a lap, isn't it, for Perrin, because up the inside goes Hasse, through he goes, up into third place. So Christopher Hasse is getting stronger and stronger, significantly, of course, as the car is getting lighter. Back into the race goes number 8 Bentley. That will have lost a lap. It'll get that back when the stop cycle through. But Hasse goes third. He secures it down at turn 1. And the McLaren, Alvaro Perrin to the wheel, falls to 4th place now. Maxime Soulet comes in. So we saw Andy Soucek getting ready. He will take the car over. It's another relatively short stint, isn't it? So back into the race goes 11, but a lap down on the race leaders. Andy Soucek will take over number 8 Bentley. And they're having problems with the front right. Big kick that dislodges it enough so that they can get the new one on. Spend all this money on a new GT program, then you have to go to brute force to help with the tyre change. But a big old kick did enough to get the wheel off. New set of Yokohama's goes on. Of course, this is another car running a tyre compound that it's never worked on before, but Yokohama's proving to be the real gun around here. And down it drops, the engine fires up, and Andy Soucek, another huge experience, very competent pair of hands behind the wheel.
Jimmy Bruni slowing. We've got Gianmaria Bruni slowing in the Clearwater Ferrari. I was looking for him in second place. He wasn't there, and it looks as though the defending champions are in even more trouble. He's already had one spin today.
He's got a
and the
puncture,
car's all
or there's
over the
damage.
place.
He's got a puncture. He has, look. He's got a left rear puncture. The tyre has gone down.
And I think there might be damage to the left rear.
I think that might be part of the aero of the diffuser, but you can see the rubbers being spat aside. The car's going to have to make a pit stop, that is for sure.
And they're wheeling the number 1 car back in.
Okay, so there is more damage in there, and this is very significant because, as we've been saying, a potential winner, reigning champions of the event, effectively are into the pit garage now.
So that's our final pit stopper of our front runners, really. So we'll see where he comes out. With regards to the rest of the front runners, just looking out over the start-finish straight, can't really see anyone. As there you see the Audi going around the outside then. Is that Marcus Winkelhock going through, past, and effectively, potentially, into the lead of the race?
Absolutely, because Piti Beiranbahce in the Ferrari, not yet up to speed. Andrew McPherson's Porsche bothers me that it's had another stop.
And 17 and 55 have just come over the line, so Stuart Leonard and Andrew Watson. So I think that is Winkelhock in the lead of the race. Here you're going to see Enzo Weed coming out behind the 55 McLaren.
So that's lost out on the pit stops as well. Given that Haas was going up the order, that has dropped quite a long way back on the stops. Talked about the McLaren falling back behind 17 Audi on the pit stops. This will be a real test of Stuart Leonard, won't it? Against 55. Andrew Watson, who knows about McLarens from racing them in British GT, and he's all over him like a cheap suit. Goes one way, goes the other. Andrew Watson, who came out of the UK Ginetta one-make championship, the GT4 so-called Super Cup, looking for a way past now. Engine cover off. Watson to the inside for third place. He's done it. Going into turn 4 up the inside. McLaren goes through. Andrew Watson then dives through, gains the place up on the inside line. And so we've had the change for third position. Andrew Watson then in the FFF Racing McLaren goes through, picks up the place. But as we look at Matt Griffin in number 1, let's find out exactly what happened to that car in its first stint, because Gianmaria Bruni is ready to have a word with Jack Nicholls.
Well, I don't really know where to start with that stint. Started from pole, but then ended up having an incident with a back marker. What happened there?
Yeah, we had. I had a contact with one Lotus. I was having a quite good gap, pulling away, and this Lotus put the indicator. Then he was going on the right, but suddenly when I was side by side on the left, he moved on the left. He touched me on the rear of the car. So we. The car is not right. We broke something on the rear right. We tried to continue, and after the last lap when I was coming in, I had the puncture. So I drove all the lap around with the puncture and last 3 corners without wheels. So it's a shame, it's bad luck. But yeah, obviously the contact with the Lotus didn't help. He's in the garage. It's unfortunately he moved. He shouldn't move, but it's.
A puncture's something that you've got to watch out for. Has Mac got to drive a little differently to be careful of punctures?
The puncture, I think, because he's, the contact has been on the right. Yeah. But puncture, I don't know why, but we don't know.
Okay. So what do you think you can do for the rest of the race? What's a reasonable aim?
We try to go to the finish. It would be hard because the car is not right. The steering wheel is not straight on the steering wheel on the straight, so it will be hard.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
And number 1 is in trouble again. Having just talked about James Collado, he's in trouble again. Slowly, 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 number 1 Ferrari limps its way to the runoff. It looks different because of the early damage to the bodywork, but that's mechanical. That has stopped it absolutely in its tracks, and it stopped it out on the circuit at turn 4, the exit of turn 4. So number 1, the car, the team that was victorious last year, has ground to a halt as the cars together work their way now out of turn 6, wide over the curb goes Caldarelli, feeling the pressure now as Vanthoor is right on his tail through 7 into 8 now, and Vanthoor sticks his nose towards the inside. He's got the pace, but has he got the room? He's way wide over the curb. He's going to make a run now, I think, on the inside line down towards turn 9. This is for 4th place. Laurens Vanthoor goes through. Job done. Good move. Set it up about 3 corners back, but it pays out for him. So Laurens Vanthoor then goes 4th in number 17 Audi. Caldarelli right back on his tail then. The McLaren is not taking that line down, and Andrea Caldarelli tries to find a way back through.
Now, we've had another problem for the number 1 car of James Collado. The number 1 car is slow out there on the circuit. He just lost 30 seconds in the middle sector alone. There he is. And this is the Clearwater Ferrari that started on pole position, led for the start of the race. And it looks as though the whole rear bodywork is ripped off. Let's get a closer look at it. Oh my goodness, what a mess, what a mess. And there is James Collado out of the car and very frustrated with how things have transpired. A shrug.
Procedure in 20 seconds.
Okay, so we're getting a full course yellow here. And is that presumably for the debris on the circuit at turn 12?
3, 2, 1, green flag now.
And there is the green flag, and a very quick restart from the 11 car. Alessandro Pierguidi launching his way past Tanigawa. They're not racing for position. So the number 1 Clearwater Ferrari has officially retired now because of rear left damage. So what a shame for the car that led the race. They are now out of it, and their race is over. The 2-time defending champions will not be able to complete their run, and that's before Mok Wen Sung even got to go in the car, wasn't it? Because it was James Collado who was running the 3rd stint of that car when he picked up that puncture, and too much rear left damage for them to continue. What a shame that is. And it
5,
also sounds like we're going to full course
3,
yellow now.
2, 1, full course yellow now.
And there is the full course yellow, and that is due to the rain. So now this will give, the rain's up at turn 3. Oh my goodness, there's the rain. Right, so we haven't got any rain on the start-finish straight at the moment, looking out the window, but up at turn 3, it is absolutely lobbing it down, and now it'll be a rush to get to the pits, to get onto the wet weather tyres. There's the 17 car for the WRT Audi. And Stefan Ortelli will be handing that one over to Stuart Leonard. And you can see Ortelli making his way off. So Stuart Leonard at the wheel now. He's not driven this car much. This is his first weekend in it. He'll have had some wet weather running because we've had an awful lot of wet weather running. And out goes the WRT Audi then. So there's the 55 McLaren. Now they stayed out. They
Red
didn't
flag,
come in.
red flag.
There we go. There's the news
Red
from
flag
the race director.
due to the weather conditions.
So we've got the red flag declared due to the weather conditions. Now, in actual fact, that might work out okay, bizarrely, for that McLaren.
So
They
red
decided
flag,
to...
all cars will stop and enter the pit lane. When the weather conditions will be better, the cars will be lined up in front of the starting line and in the same order, and we will restart behind the safety car.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling well. No problems from my injury. Obviously, some muscles are a bit more tired than the other side, but no pain or no issues when I'm driving. So happy to be back to normal.
Okay, is this normal? I mean, how bad was it out there?
I'm actually very happy to see rain. I prefer driving at -5 degrees for 5 hours and half an hour in this temperature, so I'm happy to see some cold rain.
Safety car comes in. Winkelhock puts the power down, coming towards the final corner, and the 12 hours of Sepang resumes at exactly the halfway point after a bit of a stoppage because of some heavy rain. It's Marcus Winkelhock who leads the way for the Phoenix Racing Audi team. Across the line he comes. Enzo Ede is second for WRT. Third is Stuart Leonard for WRT Audi. Fourth is Carlo Van Dam in the Singer Motorsports Ferrari, looking towards the inside, not going to be quite close enough. Then it's Alex Young behind. Then it's Andrew Watson. So then it's the Bentley of Maxime Soulet that's gone a little bit wide there, and Josh Hunt will try and make a move, but he's not close enough. The Be Quick Audi going very deep into turn 1, but everyone is safely back in the race. As I say, the 602 Subaru has returned to the pits, unfortunately, so they're still running into trouble, but it's Winkelhock who leads, and this is the battle going on as the Ferrari is under pressure here, and that's through goes Alex Young. So Alex Young goes past the Ferrari, not yet sure if that's for position, because on the timing screens it isn't, but Young will think it is. They're going to go side by side now towards 5 and 6. Young holds the place on the track at least.
Yeah, Young shown as being a lap down, isn't he? So that's where the confusion comes, but he's going to have to throw everything at this.
But that is a move for position as Andrew Watson goes past Carlo Van Dam as well. Van Dam fights back coming into the right-hander of turn number 7. Watson will have more grip on the outside potentially, and he manages to hold the place. Maxime Soulé now is the next man to try and attack the Singer Ferrari 458. On the run down into the hairpin at turn 9, he looks to the inside line, and he should be able to squeeze past. It looks as though the Ferrari has held it for the moment. And this is the battle, sort of, for third place. It's Leonard in third place at the moment. Alex Young looking up the inside coming into turn 1, but the timing screen show he's a lap down. Can't quite get the traction. And he's desperate to try and find a way past Leonard and make his way up the order. Really strong drive in these conditions, Alex Young. 39 years old now. Raced in Formula 1 in the early 2000s. Looks up the inside coming into turn 4. There's the move done. Oh no, Leonard holds it around the outside. Great stuff. Good defensive work from Stuart Leonard to keep it all the way around the outside at 4. And now Young's going to try the outside at 5, and they're going to go 3 wide. What a move from Alex Young. A round of applause in the Phoenix garage. That was Hakkinen Zonta-esque. Going around the outside of both Leonard and a back marker to take the place. Fantastic stuff.
Down towards turn 3, there is Alex Young, who's still got this question mark about his lap to be investigated, but for the moment he is down in 6th spot. He's keeping at bay Maxime Soulé, who was only 1,000th of a second quicker on the last lap through. Big flash of the lights from Young. That's cheeky, because Carlo Van Dam is in now a genuine battle for position, but the Audi goes through. They're out of sequence on pit stops, but the Audi goes by, so that is the change for 5th place now, legit. Alex Young goes ahead of the Ferrari. And it's going to be Lawrence Fantor who will take the car over. So the Yokohama wets are ready, on which the car has never run until this weekend. In it comes. Stuart Leonard punches the board out of the way as he brakes, clambers out. And these natural pit stops, if you like, quick as you can type pit stops. It's not done to a time as in certain domestic championships. You do the work as rapidly as you can. And the teams now all being told you've got to have your lights on. We've now got to the point of the race where there is insufficient light not to use the lights of the cars. So 2 mechanics only that are allowed to do the tyre changes. And the reason for that is if you've only got 2 allowed to do tyres, you need less personnel and you've got less wages to pay, costs down. Flip side is you've got to be very fit to do this in these temperatures for 12 hours. You're looking at 11 stops or so, possibly more if the conditions keep on changing and you have to make unscheduled stops. The guys do a great job. Away goes the car. And so now Lawrence Fantor takes over what has dropped down, number 17, but it'll be interesting to see his lap times now relative to Marcus Winkelhock. Are we looking at a battle shaping up between 16 and 17? The track is green, but we also have the car back on circuit, but a little bit of gravel on the road, and the team's being warned about that. Over the timing line goes the race leaders, and the gap now is down to 38.5 seconds. So Christopher Mies has had another really good go on that lap, and he's managed to find 3.7 seconds. He's not out of this yet, and Fantor is 3rd, doing even better lap times. Fantor is 9.3 seconds back. Winkelhock is just under 2:27, and Fantor at 2:21. Wow. So a lot of time lost for the race leader, and now Fantor is absolutely flying. Now, why was that for Winkelhock? Was it a blip because of yellows and gravel and being careful, or is it something rather more sinister? And off slithers, 87 is that, at turn 14. It's one of the 2 GDL cars, 87 or 67. 67 has got previous for sliding off the road, and it is 67 again, and the safety car is going to be deployed. The safety car is being deployed, not a virtual, but the safety car, and that's going to take the Phoenix lead away.
Message from the race director: we are now on safety car procedure due to the bad weather conditions, so we will see the situation in a few laps, and then if it's improving we will release the car, or otherwise we will continue on the safety car.
in fact, race controller saying, what are your drivers reporting about the conditions? One team says can't see more than 200 metres. Another one says poor visibility. Aquaplane at turn 5 and turn 6. Phoenix Racing say too much more water. Red flag is shown. Here you go, too much water. Main problem is visibility. They can't see standing water areas on the track, even on the straight. Well, there is the answer. It is a red flag. And so everybody will head to the pit lane.
Everybody of importance.
Quite. Do enjoy, won't you?
Well, thank you very much.
And let's see if we can gate crash Audi's hospitality. Jack has managed to blag his way in, probably for dinner, and a few interviews as well.
These are all our top teams we've got here. This is the man who's in the lead car, Marcus Finkelhock. That's safety cars and red flags. Bad news for you, isn't it?
Yeah, we lost, I think, more than 30 seconds. Why are you all laughing?
He's laughing because he's second now.
No, yeah, we're still in the lead, and I think we have good driver lineup, so we keep on pushing until the end of the race. Absolutely.
Who's the weak link in his driver lineup?
Him, of course.
How hard was it to double stint both driving and the tyres?
To be honest, it was quite tough. I expected, during the rain it became a little bit more cold, so I expected actually to be quite easy, but it was really tough at the end. When I got out of the car, it was still very hot in the car and was quite challenging.
So Chris, your car is now second and going to be right behind him. Do you think you can beat him and win the race?
Well, that's the target. We'll see. It's still 3 hours to go. Anyway, anything can happen.
And Lawrence here is having a real racing driver food, bread and butter. That's what Vincent Voss is pleased he's eating. And how's it going for you guys? Third place, you happy with that?
Yeah, I think we can be happy. We still have 3 hours to go, and then actually we start from zero again. We will all start behind each other. So let's see. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure. 3 Audis, so we have to be a bit careful with each other, but it will be a challenge.
Cool. Well, best of luck, guys. We're starting again in 10 minutes, so get ready, won't you? Back to you, Adders.
The safety car blasts away, and now we get the green flag, so the race resumes. So we are back in business. As I say, we don't have a race stop in these situations, it's a race suspension, and now this is the race getting back underway. So we're on lap 163 as the cars cross the timing line, and everybody now cycles through. The team's just being reminded that although, of course, a stint under normal circumstances is 65 minutes, when the safety car is out, it is 70, because, of course, you are going at a slower pace, and therefore you can't necessarily time it so that you are in bang on the 65-minute mark, so you give them that 5-minute window. So the team is just being reminded that it is 70. Through turn 14 comes the leader as WRT heads for the pit lane. So the two Belgian Audi Club Team WRT cars from second and third head for the pit road. It's not a stint that's finished, but they're taking this opportunity now to do whatever work is required, and then they can dispatch the cars back into the race. So it's going to be a driver change, and the WRT teams want clear passage for the car, which works. So 150 comes in first of all, and that's for Christopher Hauser to get out. And Christopher needs to get in. And in the background, we've got number 17, Stefan Ortelli, and he will give way now as well. So driver changes, the fuel has gone in, do they get another set of wets? They've hardly used that set, so they can afford to stay on them. Perhaps the theory here is that when everybody else has to come in at the end of the stint, they'll just buy their way to the front of the queue, because they'll catch up to it now. 150 has a problem, it has lost second position, and so straight away that car is in strife because it's lost position, and it will go back out as soon as possible. But 150 struggling to get going, it's still stationary, so the car that was in second place has a problem in the pit lane. The plan has worked well for the number 17 WRT entry, because that has just jumped up one spot and could well, on the restart when everybody else pits, get the race lead. But this car, all of a sudden, has been unable to restart, and worried faces peer into the car, and more mechanics come over and see what they can do. But while it's on the apron, there's a limited number of people that can touch it, so they have to be mindful of that pit lane regulation. Others that have been in: Alessandro Pianguidi, now Davide Rizzo in number 11 Ferrari. Tanigara has taken over the Mercedes 35. So this car is losing place after place after place. Is it going for the garage? I think it might be. Or can they get it started? It started, it goes. So finally, number 150 does get going, but that's going to be the first one for Jack to investigate. 150, then blasts back down the pit lane, but with a lot of time lost there in the pits. Big dramas for number 150. There it is, it's on track again. So the car turns its way out of turn number 1. It'll catch the queue, but it puts itself to the back, and it's lost places as a result of being in the pits for all that time. So the good news is it's not lost too much. But let's hear though from Vincent Voss. We caught up with him at last. He's with Jack.
So Vincent, pitting behind the safety car, what was the thinking behind that?
Well, that's the only way to get to the front, I think.
So does that mean you've only got to stop once more before the end?
Well, this we will see. You know, many things can still happen.
But there's a problem with the 150 car.
Yeah, we had an electrical problem, but then it was solved.
Are you going to win this?
We will do everything to.
But the race is back on now as they come across the timing line, and Laurens Vanthoor tries to break away. 7/10 of a second. He's pulled out already as they go over the timing line down towards turn 1 in the dark, then in the rain as well. Laurens Vanthoor ahead of Nicky Thiem. Third is Christopher Mies, and then fourth, trying to work his way up through the traffic, is Andrea Caldarelli in the McLaren, but up front he's Audi 1, 2 and 3. And actually Christopher Mies looks like he's just dropping away ever so slightly as the cars now turn their way out of turn 2. Look at the spray. This shows you how wet it is still out there and how difficult this is going to be for the drivers. The spray, the standing water. In the dark, you've got virtually no reference points that you've been building up in the daylight over the course of the weekend. This really is tough for them. And for the pro drivers up front, they've got to be absolutely flat out. Now over the timing line, it is now 8.9 seconds. Vanthoor to Thiem to Mies is down to 0.4 of a second. There's more urgency now being displayed in the way that Christopher Mies is going as they head down to turn 1, absolutely nose to tail, closing right up under braking, and then the car washes out ever so slightly. Mies is throwing everything at this. Again, that wide line at turn 2, looking for the extra traction, hoping that will carry him quicker downhill. And now it's getting all very nervy down in the WRT garage. Now, is he close enough to think about a move up towards turn 4? Up they come, heading towards turn number 4. He pulls out, pulls back in again. Again, has a look up the inside. Doesn't pay out for him. And so as they accelerate now towards turn 5, the gap comes right down. And yet again, the closer he gets, the less Christopher Mies can see. That's why his lines have to be slightly different, just so that he has an idea of where the road will be going next. It's fingers crossed in the WRT pit bunker as Mies is getting closer and closer. Again, he pulls out of the spray. There's a flash of the lights now to try and distract Nicky Thiem, but if anything, it's Christopher Mies that runs the wider up onto the curb, carries the momentum out of turn 8. Both run wide over the curb, and Nicky Thiem, for the moment at any rate, is just not for cracking. Mies has a look up the inside, and again, doesn't think it's going to work for him, slots back in behind.
Mies has got an amazing sort of club disco flashing light thing, hasn't he? It goes really strobe, which is really going to distract him. Here's the look up the inside, and there goes Christopher Mies up the inside of Nicky Thiem, and he's through into second position. It had to come at an unlikely place. It's come at the double right-hander, and now it's a WRT 1-2. What can Thiem do to fight back?
Straight away, he's on the money, isn't he? Looking for a way back pass, but now he is faced with the spray. Visibility disappears, and that is going to really affect things for him. So that, I think, is now it for WRT in terms of getting the 1-2 finish. Once all these are done, there might be one final cruise of the pit lane for final thoughts going into the last stint, but there's no extra driver, so it's all good. Now, the only other question mark over this is the electrical issue that they had on the last stop. If that's all good, then this should be seamless. If the electronic problem persists, it could be a longer pit stop, and then that could throw a lifeline to Phoenix, but the lights are on, so it doesn't look like they're going to change tyres either. Or does it? Let's see. Oh, they are having the electrical issue. Drop it down. It's away, but a little bit of time lost. But I think they've got away with all that.
Yeah, looks like it. So yeah, a little bit of a stutter. And is he going to come out in the lead of the race here? The 150 car of Christopher Mies? He is. So what's happened to Laurens Vanthoor on that previous lap? How has he lost so much time? The 150 car didn't change tyres, did Vanthoor?
Yes, I think he did. I thought he did.
So, why would WRT have done that? There's Stefan Ortelli's nervous face, because the 150 car has now taken the lead of the race away from the 17 machine of Ortelli, Vanthoor, and the man sat behind Vanthoor and Ortelli there, Stuart Leonard. Well, what a curious decision to be taken by WRT, because how independent are those cars run between one another? There's Vincent Vos having a chat with Ortelli, and he looks pretty surprised.
Yeah, Vanthoor's stop was 1 minute and 21 seconds, and the Mies stop was 1 minute and 2, so he's gained about 18.5 seconds on that pit stop, which has put him into the lead. So
it's about 20 seconds for a tyre change.
Yeah, exactly right. So the gamble is you try and double stint the tyres because they're not working as hard in the wet, and you get the race lead. But I would still have thought that Vanthoor on a fresh set of tyres will be able to get the lead back. But what it does set us up for is an enthralling final hour of the race. Okay, Winkelhock's stop was 64 seconds.
Yeah.
So that would suggest, again, double stinting the tyres, and of course they were doing that earlier on. So the obvious thing to do is to put a fresh set on, but I think the assumption may have been that everybody else would do the same, and it's not panned out that way. So what we now have is the race leader, Christopher Mies, as Jack's been saying, 150 leads the way, thanks to double stinting the tyres. In second place, it is Vanthoor. He's 12 seconds back, but he's on fresh tyres.
Yep, absolutely.
It's game on. Stefan Ortelli pensively looks on. Here are the two race leaders then at the end of lap 2:10. They are absolutely together. 1.7 seconds it was at the start of the lap, and it's going to be one 8-wheeled Audi by the end of it, because they will come through absolutely tied together. 150 is Christopher Mies. The blue illuminated number panel on the side of the car behind is 17 Vanthoor as they work their way up now towards the timing line. Absolutely together. 1.7 seconds is now 0.2 of a second after very nearly 12 hours of racing. At 23:18 on the clock, so 23 hours and 18 minutes of racing done. The lead cars are together. Vanthoor has to dab the brakes there up the curb to try and not go into the back of Mies. He takes the different line at turn 2. The lead is about to change as they drop down to turn 3. These sets of headlights overlap there as they come through. Is it going to be a change for the race lead? Not yet. Christopher Mies hangs on to it. Both Audis, both out of the same stable. And on this, lap 211, with just under 40 minutes to go of 12 hours of racing, the leaders absolutely has won. And now Christopher Mies has got to make his car as wide as is possible. And Vanthoor goes right round the outside. Is this going to pay off for him? It's going to be the inside line for turn 6. He's going to go through. Fantastic move! Laurens Vanthoor takes over the race lead. He runs a little bit wide, and Christopher Mies comes back at him. They're side by side, and Vanthoor's got the traffic ahead of him. He's on the outside line. Vanthoor led, but not for much longer, because Mies is back up the inside. Vanthoor is off the road and back on again. Mies is going to run him out wide. Vanthoor keeps his foot in. He's going to retake the lead right round the outside, all over the curb, and Laurens Vanthoor has done it. 23 hours and 19 minutes of racing done. It's like lap 1 all over again. Wonderful stuff. Laurens Vanthoor leads the way. Christopher Mies desperately wants to get back ahead of him, but now Laurens Vanthoor, I think, has been able to secure the place. Now he should be able to stay there, but he's got another back marker up the road. The pit stop of number 150 is going to be investigated at the end of the race. So the story may not end, I'm afraid, at the checkered flag. And that was Stefan Ortelli's reaction to the first part of the move. And then when the move finally stuck, let's see, Stefan Ortelli watches, and then eventually up the inside goes Vanthoor to make it stick, and it's all smiles. The touring car class still being utterly dominated by number 86, which remains the Toyota of Kenny Lee, Ho Liam and Won Yu Chong. And that car with a colossal advantage. It is now the best part of 20 laps up on the opposition. That's looking very good for the class win. But what about Laurens Vanthoor? He's won 24-hour races, he's won 1-hour races, he's won 3-hour races, he's bound to win a 12, because here he comes in Malaysia through the last corner. The Sepang 12 hours is going to be won by Audi, by the Belgian Audi Club, Team WRT, Stefan Ortelli, Stuart Leonard and Laurens Vanthoor, the winners of the Sepang 12 hours. The checkered flag is waved. It is a win for the number 17 Audi that is cheered home by the WRT squad on the pit wall. There is a very happy Stefan Ortelli. And now, after 12 hours of pressure, the celebrations can begin. And there to win the GTC competition is number 23 Lamborghini, Yuan Bo at the wheel, along with Efik Yazid, James Munro and Martin Rump making their way up towards the timing line. They get a B as well in 11th place overall. So drivers being reminded that they have to make their way now round to the podium if they've been in the top 3 in each class. There's the touring car class winner. Let's hear from, no doubt, a delighted winner. Laurens is there with Jack.
Laurens, you're back.
Yes. Well, couldn't wish for a better comeback. I'm dead. And especially for my dear friend Ortelli, it's his last race with Audi and WRT. The last time we won together, there he is. We won, now he won again.
Superstar! C'est mon champion. Tiens.
Stefan, you've won a lot of times with Audi. What does this one mean to you?
It's really important for us. For the two of us, he came back after his broken legs. Can't be better than that. He was just a superstar, a rocket in the rain. We did a major win for Audi. Really, really proud for us. Really proud for WRT again with the 1-2. And for us, it's good to be again on the top of the podium. Bravo, Laurens, bravo. Bravo, mon champion.
Laurens, just tell us about that overtake on Christopher Mies. It looked quite fun.
Yeah, well, we're obviously good friends because we were both working for Audi, and we needed to keep it fair, and it was perfectly fair. It was I knew when I came I had to go directly, because once I would have been stuck behind, it would have been more difficult. And it was close. I couldn't see him all the time, so I turned in and I hope I'm okay. Hopefully he has enough room. And it was the case. And then it was all about bringing it home. And I don't know why. My engineer needs to explain me some stuff, because he was telling me until the line, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, because apparently we needed to be on time for something. I don't know what exactly, so it didn't give me some free time.
Marcus, a real tough race out there.
Yeah, but actually the target was to win the race and not finishing third, so not really happy.
Okay, well, congratulations anyway on the podium.
Stefan Ortelli, Laurens Vanthoor and Stuart Leonard, the winners of the Sepang 12 hours. And the trophies to be presented by Mr. Yang Berbahagia, Tansi Mokzani Mahathir, the chairman of the Sepang International Circuit. Stefan Ortelli delighted with another one for the collection, more excess baggage to take home. Stuart Leonard can't believe his debut for Audi could be quite this good. And Laurens Vanthoor receives his trophy. They're the winners of the Sepang 12 hours. Stuart Leonard, Stefan Ortelli in the middle, and Laurens Vanthoor, winners here at Sepang. Great big cheer as the trophies are raised aloft. The winners of the GT3 Pro-Am competition, Alvaro Parent, Andrew Watson, Andrea Caldarelli and Hiroshi Hamaguchi.
So congratulations.
So the winners of the GTC section of the Sepang 12 hours, Efik Yazid, James Munro, Martin Rump and Yuan Bo in the GT Top Speed Racing Lamborghini. So the winning drivers in the production touring class. On the podium, the Wing Hin Motorsports team score victory in the touring production class. This the classification at the end of 12 hours then as they came across the line, but there are 1 or 2 investigations, as we've been reporting, still to go. And Nicky Malhoff also suggesting that Laurens Vanthoor had driven more than he perhaps should, but that'll be resolved by the race officials as well. So it is Stuart Leonard, Stefan Ortelli and Laurens Vanthoor who take the win on the road, ahead of Enzo Ida, Christopher Haase and Christopher Mies, and then Nicky Malhoff ahead of the Nicky team, Marcus Winkelhock combination of drivers supporting him. Then Alvaro Parent, Andrea Caldarelli, Andrew Watson and the Japanese driver Hiroki Hamaguchi taking 4th and Pro-Am honours in GT3 ahead of Maxi Book, Maxim Soule and Andy Soucek 6th. Marchi Lee, along with Sean Thong and Alex Young, take 6th. 7th place to the sole Mercedes in the race, number 35 of Han Chun-chun, Nobuteru Taniguchi, Hiroki Yoshimoto and Tatsuya Tanegawa. 8th place to the troubled Ferrari of Piti Piron-Bakdi, Carlo Van Dam, Alessandro Piaguidi and Davide Rizzo. 9th to Josh Hunt, to Adrian De Silva and to Dominic Ang. And then 10th, Guy Smith, Vincent Abril and Stephen Kane. Go through that top 10, you can point at lots of people that didn't have the result they perhaps wanted or anticipated. 11th to win GTC, Afik Yazid, James Munro, Martin Rump and Yuan Bo in the Lamborghini, ahead of John Curran, Graham Dowsett, Will Bamber and Alif Hamdan. Then Henk Kicks, Daniel Bilski and Peter Cox. That's the top 3 in GTC, ahead of the Porsche, number 67 of Lim Hyung Liam, Bruce Lee and Andrew Tang after its assorted offs. James Winslow, Warren Luff, Andrew McPherson are frustrated 15th. 16th went the way of the 87 Porsche, Lim Kyong Wee, Melvin Moe and Gilbert Ang, the drivers. Behind them, in 17th place, it was the touring car class winning Toyota of Kenny Lee, Ho Will Liam and Wu Yu Chong. 18th place to the Lamborghini of Mitch Gilbert, Matthew Swanepoel and Zen Lowe. Behind them it was the Sport Garage Ferrari of Georges Cabin, Jean-Paul Buffin, Robin Brandella and Gerald Tam. And the top 20 rounded out by number 33 Porsche, John Martin, Mark Darwin, William Wang and Ye Xiang Lin. 21st was the little Toyota, number 14, in the hands of Brian Lee, Chan Chen Long, Wai Sheng Hung and Hideko Masatoka. With 22nd, the last car over the line, Jim Hunter, Grant Johnson, Douglas Koo and Alan Letcher. 2 retirements that we lost, the Ferrari and the Lotus, relatively speaking, early on. The Lotus after only 7 laps of the race with its damage. And so, the GT3 winners of the Sepang 12 Hours, Stefan Ortelli, Lawrence Vantor and Stuart Leonard.